Action activated.
Here we come, there they go. People rise, 'cause they know we're super soldiers. We got cool clothes. You real smooth, and you see our pose. Tension, energize, mask on. Time to ride. Combine, grease ties.
Hello, people in the Ranger world. You're not the Ranger Nation. That's somebody else's. I don't know. But who are you? You're activators. You're activated. You're actionies. You're AAs. No, that's also something else. We're action activated. I'm Gazbot. And with me, this guy as always.
It is the Morphin Dog, because we're not talking about Cosmic Fury anymore. We're talking about just Ranger-related fun, timey stuff or other. So for those of you tuning in, hi, good to see you. It's been a little bit since we've chatted. So we thought today we would both A, catch up with each other, because we both haven't in a while, and B, catch up with you guys in regards to what we've done that's Ranger-related or adjacent or what have you, just with the state of Power Rangers as it is. So do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Why don't you go first there?
Okay. So this last weekend, I was a vendor with some buddies at the San Jose Toy Show in the Bay Area in California. And if anybody who I met there is watching, hi, it's good to, have you see me, I guess. I actually met a lot of cool Ranger fans. We talked about Power Rangers at the booth. A couple people started following us on YouTube, so not sure if they're seeing this, but
welcome to this if you are one of those people.
Exactly. A lot, as you saw when you were talking to me at the booth, it's a lot of the same stuff. I like talking about Power Rangers, and I do it with my buddy. So did the show. It was really cool. Talked there, and one of the cool things about this specific show was that Dan Southworth, the Time Force Quantum Ranger, was there. Now, Gazbot and I had talked about previously. He had reached out and he's like, "Oh, do you know that he's coming?" I was like, "Yeah, but traditionally, if it's a good show, it'll be really busy. I don't know if I'll have a chance to go meet him." I know in December at the last San Jose show, Tracy Lynn Cruz was there, and every time I walked by, she had a crazy long line. So I wasn't able to meet her there. But luckily, I was able to step away briefly at this show, and I got to meet the man himself, Mr. Dan Southworth, again.
Nice.
So it was cool.
Did you have any souvenirs of that?
I don't know. We'll have to see at the end of the story if I do.
Okay.
But so I had met him in 2016 at a Power Morphicon breakfast. He doesn't remember. I don't expect him to. But he was really cool then. Talked to him.
Oh, that was the one when we went together, but we got separated, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I was at my own table. Yeah.
I think I was with Jack Guzman.
I think so too. Yeah.
Before I had watched Wild Force, so I didn't recognize him.
I watched Time Force then, so I did appreciate him. But we talked in that group setting, and it was nice and it was cool. Yeah. And I had seen him one other con since then. He and I didn't talk, but I just saw him. Right. And I, was able to step away from the booth. It was kind of that perfect timing. I went. He had just finished up with somebody else, and I went over and I said, "Hey, actually, small world. One of your students, because he trains in martial arts. I trained in martial arts. One of your students was actually one of my first martial arts instructors for tricking." And he was like, "Oh my gosh, how do you know Hans?" and blah blah. And we talked about that and kind of
that's a good in for you. I feel like you've had that with a couple Rangers. What Mike Chat is another one. I think you had a similar thing. Right?
I haven't talked to Mike Chat, but I talked to Peter Sudarso about martial arts a little bit. This was cool that we actually knew the same people, and he's from here, so a lot of the whole time we didn't talk about Power Rangers, which was actually kind of cool because I think it made it a little bit better for him too, where everybody, and nothing against it, we've done it both times where we've talked only Power Rangers with Power Ranger people, and we've talked nothing Power Rangers with Power Ranger people, and this was more in that regard. So I went up a long time ago. I happened to get a custom pop, and one of the ones available was Quantum. So I brought it just in case, and was able to get it
Hey,
signed. So
nice.
that was really cool. Didn't talk about the show just because it felt weird the way the conversation went to shoehorn it.
You could have
we
just
had to
like
really
dropped one of the cards on the table, like, oops, I don't know where that came
well,
from.
if I had any of the cards, I would have brought it. But in all honesty, our conversation was a lot more personal than I thought it would be. So it was actually really nice, and it was one of those like he was cool, I was cool. I think he was thrown off guard that like I talked about people he knew
Right.
in such a like
You disarmed
personal
him a little
regard.
bit.
So it was awesome. But I told him, I hope to see you in August. He's like, yeah, come see me. I'll remember you. And so maybe then I'll try to get an interview with him or something if
Or a shout
the
out.
stars align. But either way, amazing guy. If you have the chance to meet him, please do.
August, just to be clear, Power Morphicon.
What did I say?
You said August, but you just said August. So I'm
Okay,
just
okay.
making clear that it's Power Morphicon for
The reason I asked that, there have been 3 different times in my personal life recently where I've said something and somebody's gone, "Oh, do you mean this thing?" And I'm like, "What did I say?"
No, you didn't say anything wrong. I was just clarifying for myself
Okay.
and for the viewers. I'm like, what is an August? Oh, right,
Yeah.
Power Morphicon.
Yeah, so yeah, that was
That's awesome.
that was the recent Ranger related thing for me. And then I've been catching up on a few-month-old blog that was recently posted on a different Power Rangers event, Ranger Stop. So I watched that very recently in the last week or so.
Mine?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm like, oh yeah, yeah. Okay, so for those that don't know, although I think anybody here knows, this is the Action Activate channel. It's all just Power Ranger stuff. Usually me and the Big Dog, but it started on my Gazbot channel, which was originally and is now primarily an art blog for me. But for a while I was doing Ranger content and it was sort of getting mixed up. But we did a roundup of Ranger Stop, the 2 of us, on this channel, and I did a more personal version. It was like an hour long, and it's
Yeah,
for
it was a big old vlog. It was cool.
Yeah, it's an art vlog, and it's me complaining about having a hard time and whatever. And it's not like, hey, what a cool time I had here reading these. It's like watching the nuts and bolts behind it. So if that interests you, you can watch it on the Gazbot channel. But I didn't put it here because it didn't feel like it fit the vibe here.
It had the Ranger kind of like theme, but yeah, it was very nuts and bolts, which I like because you and I have done shows together, and I like that aspect. But speaking of shows and stuff, have you done any shows where you've presented Ranger art in any capacity in the last month or so?
Well, I mean, I think you're alluding to the Selwyn Ward stuff.
No. Have you had your art in any shop or gaming area that probably you had Power Ranger stuff that you did in the last month or so?
Okay, so you're talking about okay, yes, okay, I got confused because there was another thing I was going to talk about, but yes, the Hungry Dragon is a gaming store that opened near me. That's what you're talking about?
Yes.
It opened near me, but it's actually opening. It like had a soft opening this past Friday. So I guess they're gonna have like a grand opening because they have it's really actually I'm really psyched. I have my art up in the shop. They have a couple local artists. I'm one of the artists, and there is Ranger, Godzilla, and Ninja Turtle art up on the wall. I actually don't have visuals ready because I forgot I was going to talk about this. But they're really cool. They don't charge anything. They just take a small percentage. Very fair deal. But that aside, I'm excited because where I live is kind of like a drought of stuff to do, especially like for like nerdy people. Like there's one comic store, and they're not. It's just a comic store. They don't have an area for gaming or anything. And so this is like a minute away from the comic store, and they're both 10 minutes from my house. So I'm like, oh, I hope this does well because they're gonna have Friday Night Magic, and they got Yu-Gi-Oh and D&D and Settlers of Catan, like all those kind of games, top to bottom. And they have a big area with like tables with like chargers built into them. They got this big oak table thing in the middle for D&D, and they have a private room you could rent. But it's called the Hungry Dragon because one of the 2 owners worked in food service mostly. And I don't mean he like flipped burgers. I mean like he ran kitchens and things like that. And nothing against flipping burgers, but I'm saying he was the guy in charge of the kitchen, which matters because one section of it is a little cafe where they're making flatbread pizzas and cappuccinos, and like so like you could go there and get lunch and then game all night or whatever, like so it's a cool place to have near me. And we went there for the soft opening, and they gave out like free dice and stickers and stuff, and it was a lot of fun. But yeah, I have my art up there. I don't know how well it'll sell, but it's cool to just have eyeballs on it, especially because it's weird. I have a certain amount of, I can't think of fame isn't the right word. There's a certain amount of awareness of me as an artist in certain circles, online, in certain pockets of the country, in certain fandoms. But I've lived here for 2 years, and most people I know don't even know I draw. don't have any idea, you know. So there was a lot of like, wait, what? This is your art, you know, like, so it's like, oh, okay, maybe the people around here now will know I do art and maybe buy art from me or whatever, because it's like it's hard to promote yourself as an artist. It's not, you know, like, by the way, I sell art, you know. It's like, so it does have that. And I'm actually going to be doing a less prestigious, but they have a farmer's market, but sometimes they do it at night and they have bands and stuff. And I got a booth there that was pretty cheap, and I'm going to go later this month. It's a moonlight market thing. And I'll be selling my Power Rangers art, my Godzilla art, whatever. And I did the math and I'm like, well, if I sell 3 large prints, that'll cover my costs. And if I sell 3 more, that'll cover my time. So if I sell if I sell 6, I sell 3, I break even monetarily. I sell 6, I break even for my time. Any more than 6, and it's like, oh, this might be worth doing again. But I'm like willing to risk that to, you know, it's nearby, whatever. All of that, however, is somewhat secondary as far as this channel is concerned to what I'm going to be doing this Saturday, actually. So I don't think we have any viewers in this area. I'm in the Riverside area, which is sort of Southern California, but I'm going to be doing an event at my local comic store. I was talking about Graham Cracker's Comics, which I did an event previously for my buddy Pete, who is the voice of Silver, and I did some art for him.
Silver what?
Silver the Hedgehog. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, and but they are going to be having at stage Jason Font.
You know what I just realized?
What?
So I just worked an event where I met the Quantum Ranger.
Yes.
And you, a week later, are doing an event with the Time Force Red. And the other ironic piece of that is if we were in Time Force, I feel like that's what we would be.
Yeah, you would be Quantum more than me for sure. For sure. I don't know if I'd be Red. I'd be Red over Quantum. I'll agree with you on that.
Between the two, if they said one of you guys gets Quantum, that would be me.
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true. But yeah, the timing is funny like that. What's funny also, this is the official ad that they gave me to share and stuff. And okay, he's got his Legend of the White Dragon, and this is him from Dimensions of Danger. Look at this suit.
I was about to say the mouthpiece is just so distracting.
And it looks like they have like straps here. I don't know if this is a fan suit, if this is AI. I don't know what this is. But when they gave it to me, I said, oh, and I thought the comic store made it. I'm like, hey, just so you know, that's not like really the suit he wore. I don't know what that is. That's like not quite right. And they're like, that's what they gave us. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess that's what we're doing. That's odd. Like, but okay, you know, like maybe it's, and I was trying to think, was he in a fan film where he wore that version? But not that I can remember.
Not that I can think of either.
But yeah, so we're both going to be there. He's going to be there, obviously being him.
What if it's Beast Morphers Red and they put a different helmet on it?
Well, I could see the arrow right here.
I mean, you've done Photoshop.
Right, but I'm saying like why that, you know, it does sort of like have that Beast Morphers vibe to it with the straps, but why wouldn't they just take any of the millions of pictures of Time Force Red or Time Ranger Red?
There's a simple explanation for that.
Even if it was a cosplay that was accurate, yeah. But anyway, whatever. It's a weird artifact of the graphics. But he's going to be there most of the day, and I'm going to be there. When I was there with Pete, the Silver actor, a Sonic actor, Jason Griffith, was there also. And so they had like kind of catty corner tables, and I was sort of up at the counter with the people that worked at the comic store. But as far as I know, I'm going to be the only person there other than Jason. So I might be able to get a table next to him, which would be much better for everyone. Well, because I could chat with him a bit and not be so isolated. But also, I have Jason Font. I have Jason Font. Well, I mean, it is Jason Font, but I have Time Force Red prints that I'm going to be selling, as well as the entire team right here.
Yeah.
So, oops, that's not working. I'm kind of showing you everything. This got weird. Oh boy. Here, look at that. That's him. But I'm also going to have the whole rest of the team, including your buddy, Dan.
There he is.
Right there. Which is one of my favorites, actually, the way that one came out.
I like that one a lot too.
But yeah, I did plan on having the whole team, and I'm a little bit bummed because I've been getting a lot of commissions, and this isn't to brag. I don't normally get very many commissions, so any amount is a lot for me. But one of them is, well, I don't know if I can talk about it. It's a Power Rangers commission that would involve his character. I'll just say that.
Oh, so, you and I talked about it, right?
Yes.
Got it.
And so I would have liked to have had it done before this event, but in the order of like people that I owe commissions to, it's not like it's after the one I'm currently doing. And there was and I didn't know I was doing this event until a couple weeks ago. So there was no way I could like get it done in time and get it printed. And it's like, whatever, but it'll be a good time. And I have my Time Force stuff already. And yeah, so, and I said this on one of the other videos, but if anybody, if I can get an interview or a shout out, I will. But like you said, I'm not going to make it weird, you know. But if anybody had any questions or comments or things they want me to ask them, I'm not promising I can, but I will be in the store with them for a few hours. It's possible. Maybe I could get an actual interview. Maybe I could just ask them on the side, like, hey, what about this? You know. So leave them in the comments below if you have any questions. Today is Tuesday. I'll be posting it up Tuesday night or Wednesday morning. So you have a few days before this happens. But I'm pretty excited, and I'm excited that he's going to be there. But I'm also excited that like the store is starting to get guests now, and there's a gaming store open next. It's like becoming a little hub. And having been in the Bay Area, I was sort of used to that. A bunch of like different stores and like people coming in and stuff happening. Pardon me. And I feel like in a weird, I didn't create this. I'm not taking credit for creating this, but I'm lucky enough to be kind of on the ground floor of like all these businesses. Like they know me as the local artist guy. So I'm getting invited to be parts of this stuff. Cause they said, hey, Jason Font's coming. Do you want to come and sell Power Rangers art? I was like, yes, thank you. You know, like, so yeah.
No, that is really cool. And it is a thing, I think, just kind of it aligned really well. I know you moved there a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And now with everything building up, like you said, you did the right thing of making your presence known. And now it's kind of cycling itself in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah. I had one other thing I could say that isn't really Power Rangers. It's actually more art related. But I just noticed it recently. So unless you got something else you want to say, I'll throw this.
No, the only thing I was going to say for the interview thing is I know you and I have talked about it offline. We both have tripods now, which is helpful.
Yes.
But the biggest thing I learned when I went to Power Morphicon was a mic is a make or break. And I don't have a mic that connects to my phone, and you do.
I don't. I need an adapter.
You don't anymore?
I have the mic, but it connected to my old iPhone, and my old iPhone needed an adapter, which I got. And I just realized my new iPhone has a different plug. So if I need to get a new adapter, which I'm going to get because I need it regardless.
Yeah.
But yeah, a mic is a must. But wait, what was that? Tripod. Yeah, I have a mic.
You have a ring light. I don't.
I have a ring light. Yeah. Yeah, I've got a little bit better of a setup. But honestly, if we were I did some early interviews even when I had the tripod, like Tracy Lynn Cruz, I think was my first one. And I just sat next to her and you know, it's like, oh, that's easier. Just any tripod, you just lean it against something. And then arguably it's close enough that it can pick up the sound. Like, I think if you're in a position, and I'm talking to people who want to get interviews, if you're in a position where they're allowing you to sit behind the table with them, you can get away with no tripod and no microphone. I don't advise it, but you could get something usable.
It depends on the con, because some of those Power Morphicon ones, I remember we talked about it where the audio is hard because it was
but you weren't sitting behind the table. You were standing in front of the table. That's different.
No, I was standing behind.
What I'm saying is, see, I'm sitting. Well, you can't really see, but like there's a table right here, right?
Yes.
I would take the camera and kind of prop it up right here, and so that I'd be looking at the camera right here, so it would be a foot away from me. That scenario I've done. It's not ideal, but it's doable, is what I'm saying.
On some of mine, we stood about like a foot and a half away.
But you were also, it was on the tripod, right?
Yeah.
And the tripod was a few feet away, and it was in where the traffic was. And I know I'm not just making this shit up, because going back to the microphone thing, I have an interview that I've never posted that breaks my heart.
The William Schufelt one, huh?
No, the William Schufelt one I have posted. We were outside. That worked fine. It was I'm gonna get his name wrong. Aljan Abela. I'm saying it incorrectly. Jungle Fury Blue.
It was because of wind, though, right?
No, we were inside. I had my microphone. I sat behind the table with him. I set up the tripod, and you see me talking and whatever. The microphone either ran out of batteries or wasn't connected properly. So the microphone wasn't working. The mic on the camera was working, and the mic on the camera was on a tripod a few feet away, but it was picking up the sound from the whole convention instead of our conversation. So if the mic worked, no problem. If I knew the mic wasn't working, I would have just held it closer. But I set up kind of how you set up unintentionally. And that's a video that I have. It was such a good interview too. And I will post it one day, but it literally needs subtitles. And I've been trying to figure out, I've been transcribing it, and it just, it breaks my heart.
All that to be said, we hope to do interviews again someday. We don't know when, and hopefully there will be a mic there.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to. There's another Ranger actor who I've been in contact with that I've never interviewed. I'll say this: I've gotten a shout out from them. I've never interviewed them, but the possibility of doing an interview with them.
I am surprised that we haven't gotten an interview with that person, considering how many interactions are now under the old belt with them.
Are we talking about the same person?
I think we are.
Okay, we'll talk about it offline.
Are they a leader?
Yeah.
Yeah, then we're talking about the same person.
Okay. But yeah, well, we'll definitely try to. I'm going to try to do it with Jason Fawn if it makes sense. We'll maybe have this other one, and then if nothing else at Morphicon, we'll definitely get some. The other thing I was going to talk about, which isn't again strictly Ranger related, is I do sketch cards. That's kind of one of the main things I've been doing lately, other than commissions. The sketch cards.
I forgot.
What?
I forgot just because we haven't caught up in a while. This isn't like, hey, it's really only been 3 days. No, like we seriously haven't talked in a bit.
So I do sketch cards. I've done a couple different series, but mainly I do Ultraman. Now, this when you do sketch cards, you don't get paid a lot, but you get what are called APs or artist proofs, which are official cards you could draw on and sell or take commissions for. And I hadn't really used a lot of my APs, and lately I've been burning through them. I've been getting commissioned to do a lot of them, and that's great. This is King Joe from Ultra 7. This is now, once you reach a certain point, they could go on sale. This is on eBay. Somebody's selling it for, I think, $200. Now, I don't know if this is the artist selling it or somebody pulled it from a pack and is selling it, or it was commissioned. Like, I don't know where it came from originally, but somebody somehow owned it and said, I want $200. Okay, that seems a little high, but that's not my choice to make. Why am I showing you this?
Is it yours?
Yeah. Well, do you think it's mine? I mean, you know my style fairly well.
It is smaller, so I could be convinced it is yours.
Okay. Well, I can see why you might say it. Let me show you something else.
Oh!
Do you think this is my work?
Wow! No wonder it looked familiar. Oh!
This is not my sketch card, but that is my art that they took heavy inspiration from, let's say.
Traced over. Got it.
I mean, it's obviously the same image, just done. This was a digital 11x17 print, and this is an analog small card.
Jeez, wow! I mean,
but it's the exact same image.
Flattery, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not even that upset about it. Like, it is sort of like, it was weird because I was just looking up sketch cards for some reason. I don't remember why, like pricing, or because I'm doing some now. So I'm like, and this just came up, and I was like, what? And it blew because I'm like, I don't remember doing that, and I'm like, because I have done King Joe sketch cards, but not the same image I did for the print. So and I did these like a year or two ago because you got to wait for them to be available. So I really looked at it for a minute and I'm like, did I do that? Like, I actually did, like, and I'm like, no, I didn't. What? And then they have the name of the artist, which I'm not going to say because I'm not looking to get anybody in trouble or yelled at or whatever. But it was just weird. And I've very rarely been copied or ripped off, or however you want to put it. So it's not like a big problem in my career, but it's happened once or twice. But what's funny is, just that, like, I for a minute thought I did it, like, which is just a weird feeling to have, where like, how do I not remember this? But I have noticed, and I'm not going to name names, they have like hundreds of artists doing thousands of cards over the course of all these things. But I have seen many that are straight copies, even more than that. Like that, they copied it, but it's like a little bit different,
The colors are different. That's about
it. But I've seen like people do like Alex Ross covers where it's like they literally just traced it and like did the colors as best they could to match it. Like, so clearly they could draw. And I've seen like Art Adams and just famous artists that I've seen those pieces on the card. And I'm guessing that the person running the company, even though they're a fan of cards and Ultraman, they don't know all the comic book stuff that I know. And I'm just like, they're just like copying. They're not doing anything themselves. And it's like, whatever. But then this person must have looked up King Joe and there wasn't a lot of King Joe art, or they liked mine or whatever. And I'm like, wow, me and Alex Ross and Art Adams. So I'm not upset in the slightest, but it is weird. It is very weird.
I think the only upsetting thing will be if it does sell for 200.
No way will that sell for 200.
That's what I'm saying. If you did see it sold, you're like, oh,
I would be upset because my cards don't sell for 200. So
no, that's what I'm saying. So
yeah.
So if you want actual King Joe art that isn't just traced over for less than $200, hit up your man Gazbot.
I do have the prints on my Etsy store. I don't have any cards available currently, but I do have some still available for commission.
Have you ever been hit up to draw any characters from the Netflix anime series?
No, but I cannot legally draw those on the cards because every set of cards has a specific license of these are the shows you can draw from.
Got it.
And if I'm an official artist, which I am, there are fan cards you can get. You can draw whatever you want. But like, it sounds so hoity and falutin, and I don't mean to sound, because again, there's hundreds of artists. It's not that elite of a thing. but it's like if I don't follow the rules, I will never get a job doing it.
Yeah, no, I got you. I didn't realize that there were different companies that owned the different Ultraman sets.
Well, no, that is possibly part of it, but this company, RR Parks Cards, is who I primarily work for. It's more about the sets. The first set was Ultra Q and Ultraman. The second set was Ultra 7 only, and then like I'm working on a set now that I think I can talk about. It has Ultraman Ace, and like any of those APs can have any character, any device, anything at all that has been in one of those shows. But if it hasn't been, you can't do it. Which came the thing because somebody wanted to commission me, and I charge different for the different cards because some were easier to get, and I have more of some, and they wanted certain characters. I'm like, okay, these are the prices. I'm like, why is that? I'm like, well, because that one has to be on that card. Like, I don't care. I'm like, right, but I have to do it. Then I'm like, oh, okay, So the new Netflix stuff, as of now, there has been no card series released or announced, and I have not contributed to any that have not been announced yet. That is something that could happen in the future, but it has not yet happened. Put it that way.
Unrelated to the cards aspect.
Yes, sure.
Have you thought of doing any headshots or art of either of the Netflix Ultraman series?
I never thought about doing any art of the one with the mecha suits based on the manga. The new one that's coming out, I don't know if that's all new or if it's based on something. I'm not sure.
I believe it's all new.
I've had thoughts of doing a headshot from that. Because it's a different style, but I don't know. I don't love the mech suits, and I don't know why. Like, they don't look bad to me. They're not badly designed. It just doesn't feel like the new one is like kind of cartoony and like its own thing, but like that's clearly Ultraman, just another one of the millions of Ultramans. The mech suits feel like they're in this whole other pocket universe that's removed from every other Ultraman. That's not a bad thing. I've read some of the comics. I've watched some of the cartoon. I own at least one of the figures. But it just, I don't know, I was never inspired to want to do them. If somebody commissioned me, sure, I'd do it. But it was never something that I felt the need to do. The new one, though, I could see myself doing a headshot with that, especially with the blue eyes.
The figure arts of it.
Did they? I probably won't get that unless I watch the show. But I do like the blue eyes, and I could see doing something fun with the glowing blue eyes and stuff. But I think we need to wrap up.
Yep. Any other Ranger-related Tokui stuff for you?
No, just that I need to catch up on the comics, and we got to get back to Mystic Force. Don't think we forgot. I posted something last week like, we'll be back next week, definitely, probably with a review. I was right that we're back. I was wrong that it's a review.
Yeah, we planned on reviewing something else, but time was not on our side today. So we get this, but we'll do another
next
review.
Week we will be back, unless something happens out of our control. We'll be back next week, and we'll have a review. I'm not going to say what of, but we'll have a review. But until then, I've been Gazbot.
I am still the big dog, Morphin Dog,
Woo!
as it were.
And
to the power. See y'all later.
End credits. I was, when I was doing the editing for that Ranger Stuff video, I realized I had a bunch of new shout outs that I only used one. I had the Selwyn Ward one that I pulled because it was off my phone like that day. But I have a bunch of other shout outs that I need to incorporate into kind of like a heads up display where I can pull the shout outs from that I'm looking at right now. Yeah. They're not incorporated into it.
I saw a couple. It was like ATO was one, Matt Palmer was one.
And who was there? I got a new one from Steve Andrino because the old one I had from him was like, I don't know, 7 years ago or something. So I got a new one from him.
Yeah.
There was another one. Yeah, I don't know what made me think of it, but yeah, I got a few that I need to. Morphin Time Fitness gave me one.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, and I know he watches the show and he likes to listen to it when he's working out. So I've been thinking like, oh man, I hope he's not disappointed. Like, it's been months. When's he going to use my intro? I will use it. But you're not the only one that is like in that,
in the queue.
There you go. Yeah. All right. See you next week, everybody.